Ladies and gentlemen, this is the state of the scene.
What the fuck is up, Warped Tour? The state of the scene at SOTS Podcast on all social media. Sam here with Marcos. What the fuck is up, Marcos?
You know what it is. It doesn't even answer your question.
It fucking kills me because, like, every time I'm like bracing myself because I think you're finally gonna say something of like, I don't know, like a value or like of consequence.
All right. What the fuck?
And then I don't mean that in like a negative sense. I just mean that like
did.
There's like some weight to some, like you're gonna deliver. Like one of these days you're really gonna deliver.
Sam, I have the nuclear codes.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of the energy I'm looking for from you. All right.
Okay.
Let's get fucking serious now.
Legalize nuclear bombs.
What? Are they already legal?
Well, not everywhere.
Coming up on the show today.
All right, I got you. Yo, coming up on the show today, Hideo Kojima is a certified scene kid. Some of you may have already knew. Only true ballers really knew. Lorna Shore dropped their Anthem. Billie Joe Armstrong of Green Day threatens to kick some ass. And lots more. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Before we get to all that,
I'm somewhat of a host myself.
you certainly are. Let's talk about a mysterious illness.
Okay, where's this headed?
Which, despite my cough, is not mine. So, like, a week ago, my wife got, like, sick. Right? Like,
okay. We're
talking, like, bedridden. We're talking, like, the youngest girl in Little Woman, right? Like...
Haven't seen that movie.
You've never seen Little Woman? Oh, my God.
You spoiled it, though,
You're
just
such a
now.
fake feminist.
I guess should look out for the youngest one getting sick.
You're such a pretend feminist.
Nah, dog.
Straight up bedridden.
I'm too busy being so good of a feminist, I don't have time to watch film, okay?
Yeah, sure. You're done watching.
Type shit.
You're busy listening.
W's in the chat.
Okay, yeah.
For women.
Certainly. Thank you. The W stands for women? Right. Yeah, okay. No, I got you.
Yeah.
So she's been sick, like, all week.
Okay.
She's, like, slightly starting to, like, finally turn the corner. Like, but she was literally bedridden for days. And, like, first we went to the doctors. And they did what doctors do. Fuck all.
Okay.
And like, hey, I'm having terrible headaches. Like, I'm fucking tired all the time. I've got this rash. And the doctor's like,
take 2 ibuprofen.
That sucks.
Keep your chin up.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What do you think it is? Fuck if I know. It's like it's never.
Stay safe out there, though.
It's never like fucking, House where you go in there and like some doctor's like, yeah, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this shit, right?
What if
they just throw their hands up and they give up and they're like, yeah, so take some Benadryl and then like wash it down with some orange juice and like we'll hope you turn the corner.
Honestly, thank God.
Thank God what?
Well, what if like...
Thank God doctors
What
are
if you're like the
bad?
one in like 3 million people who go to the doctor's office and they're like, it's the Black Death.
Here's the problem.
Like that shit's still kicking around.
Is that it could be the Black Death, but I would like to know. You know what I mean? Like I would like to be aware.
Okay, well...
Like we go to the doctor's, right?
Ignorance
that was
is bliss.
A waste of fucking time. And then the next day, like it gets worse. So we go to the ER.
Okay.
And they're like... slightly better about it because I guess like once you show up at the ER they start to take you like slightly more seriously, but even then they still don't have like answers.
Okay.
And then she starts to turn the corner a little bit yesterday and is managing today, but it's like, man, I really thought that like when you went to the doctors they would be like, yeah, here's your diagnosis, but they don't do fucking anything, dog. Like I don't Like, not all doctors, but, like, most doctors.
So I'm glad your wife is doing better. That's my sister-in-law.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah. Don't defend doctors on this show, because I really won't stand for it. If you know a doctor, I don't care.
I was going to pivot to a question I had, which was... What if, after getting married, you found out that suddenly your wife was, like, allergic to metalcore?
Okay.
Would it be like...
This is the worst transition I've ever experienced in my life.
Matter more to you than continuing the podcast.
You're saying like on one side, my wife. On the other side, metalcore, and I have to choose between
your other
the
wife.
two.
Yeah.
Metalcore every day, baby.
Yeah.
Every link you need can be found in the description of this episode, including our playlist updated weekly with every song you hear on the show and more, plus socials, merch store, Discord, and our Patreon. All patrons receive access to our deluxe episode feed. This week, we talk about brand new songs from Fit for a King, Kingdom of Giants, and Fox Lake. $3 a month. Patreon.com/SOTS podcast gets you access to that episode and every other deluxe we've ever recorded.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of deluxe. We've been doing it all year. So there's like
hours worth of deluxe material.
Yeah,
dozens of hours.
There's like a clean 25 episodes in there.
Yeah. Damn.
Waiting to be binged for the low cost of $3. Patreon.com/SOTS podcast. Marcus, let's get into the news.
The news.
Billie Joe Armstrong appears to threaten to kick a crowd member's ass during a recent performance after being sprayed with a squirt gun. Marcos.
I don't think it's called a squirt gun.
What's it called?
I think it's just a water gun.
No, it's called a squirt gun.
No.
Because it squirts water.
Well,
yeah.
I feel like we should reassess.
No, this is what it's been named forever. We're not changing it. Everything else should change around squirt gun.
Yeah, okay.
So somebody in the crowd squirted all over Billie Joe Armstrong, and he he like put his guitar down for a second, and he was like, outside, like meet me in 5, like right after I finished playing American Idiot. Do you think he's in the right here? Because I kind of feel like he is.
I kind of think that I was in the wrong all those years ago when I chastised the vocalist of The Story So Far for drop kicking that fan off stage.
He's never been more vindicated.
I think there should be more acts of violence between band members and people in their crowds at shows.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think like overall crowds have gotten out of hand. It's too much like
Billie Joe should have swung on this person.
Main character syndrome, and we gotta fucking we just gotta like set Billie Joe loose. I want him like a fucking Dynasty Warriors warrior in that fucking crowd.
Oh God.
Like taking out like
dozens
14 to 16 bodies with every
Right.
swing. Just swinging his guitar in circles and shit. I just think that like if you're gonna do fuck shit, then you should be ready for the repercussions, which is Billie Joe Armstrong laying you out in front of your friends and family.
If I was gonna take odds against like any fucking popular vocalist,
yeah, you're saying you can take Billie?
I think I'm taking Billie.
He's in like his 50s, so you got youth on him.
He's get up off that stage. He's not so big anymore. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
no, I
saying?
feel you. Who's top 3 vocalists whose asses you could kick?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
There's some
Billie Joe
spindly
Armstrong's
ones
up
still. You
there.
know what I mean? Like Kellen Quinn's still a $110 soaking wet. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm laying his ass out.
Okay. Who else?
I'm trying to think. It's like what vocalist still looks like they did in
I think I could take
2013
Vessel.
peak emo? You think you can fight Vessel?
I think it's like the scene of the Dark
He's
Knight
got some
Rises.
he's spindly though. He's got weird moves.
I think it's like the scene in the Dark Knight Rises where you remove the mask from Bane
Yeah.
and like it's so painful that they just like crumble and fall to their knees.
I kind of understand what you mean. Like he covers his face and then like curls up into a ball. I kind
Exactly.
of understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. Okay, so Vessel's ass we could kick, Kellen Quinn's ass,
Yep.
getting fucking rocked,
And then fucking Billie from Green Day.
and then Billie from Green
All
Day.
3 of you. That's a threat.
Speaking of Green Day, Boulevard of Broken Dreams also surpassed 1 billion streams on Spotify. Same week that I Write Sins, Not Tragedies by Panic at the Disco also surpassed 1 billion streams. People feeling pretty emo this week? What do you think's going on?
I don't know about this week.
This
but
week in particular,
I
these
guess.
songs, they did the numbers to like push them over.
It's honestly, it's the summer. I think a lot
Yeah.
of people are missing their hoodies right now.
Okay, yeah, and they're like,
They're feeling some type of way.
they're
about
making
it.
up for it by just
Yeah.
listening to like emo anthems. Okay. Marcus, Sleep Token is set to be featured on the soundtrack of new Hideo Kojima game Death Stranding 2 per a review from JB Hi-Fi. But there are conflicting reports out there saying that the band is not credited in any capacity. I choose to believe.
I mean,
choose to believe.
Have we seen any evidence of this?
No.
Okay.
Just the statement from
People
JB
are still
Hi-Fi.
playing through this game. It just
Yeah.
came out.
Maybe it's like a hidden zone. You know what I mean?
Potentially.
I haven't
Arcadia.
played Death Stranding, but maybe it's like a secret level. You know?
So shame on you as a scene reporter
Yeah.
for not seeing this and then immediately going out, buying, downloading Death Stranding 2, which you could write off because of this show.
Hadn't considered that.
and your
That is actually a
taxes.
fairly good point. Yeah.
Because
actually a
we
great
discussed
point.
it.
Me saying sleep tokens in every single game I buy.
I actually think this is such a funny rumor moving forward. It's like, rumor is sleep tokens in like this new Street Fighter soundtrack too.
You've burned this joke. You've burned this joke.
I know. It's okay.
I'm tweeting it every 3 weeks.
Hideo Kojima got taste is all I'll say.
Bro, on top of that, his ass was also ripping Ludens on a guitar on stage at an event in Tokyo where he was promoting Death Stranding 2.
This made my heart feel really good knowing that, like, even though Bring Me didn't get to put Ludens 2 on Death Stranding 2,
Which is a song
like,
that doesn't
didn't
technically
happen,
exist. Yeah.
right? At least we're still acknowledging Ludens as a song, meaning that, like, Hideo don't got beef with Bring Me. It's just
No.
he couldn't fit him into Death Stranding 2.
He is a little upset at the departure of Jordan Fish. That is well known. But
he just like me for real.
yeah. But otherwise, no beef. I just love that Hideo is like quietly, very, very, very quietly just letting everyone know that he's like a certified baller ass little scene kid.
He's so fucking cool, dude. He's the closest thing we have to a superhero.
Yeah, it's
Hideo
like sooner or
Kojima's
later
that man.
he's gonna get Gerard Way in like Death Stranding 3. He's gonna be like the villain.
Right.
He's gonna fight who's the guy who plays the main character in Death Stranding, the Walking Dead guy?
Norman Reedus.
Norman Reedus. Yeah, I wanted to say
sir.
Benson Boone.
Benson Boone.
It sounded right.
I cannot believe that there is follow up to this story here, Sam. Go into it.
What do you mean? Follow up in what capacity?
From
What do you
last
mean?
week.
What's the follow up?
This next story.
And finally, following up last week's story on Asking Alexandria receiving criticism for their performance at the DC date of the Vans Warped Tour, Sumerian's Ash Avildsen has cheekily invited the band to rejoin
God.
Sumerian Records and get them back on track. Asking Alexandria will also be playing the Long Beach date of the Vans Warped Tour this July. Do you think Sumerian could fix Asking Alexandria?
So, some opinions about Ash and Sumerian aside,
Yeah.
anyone who has recently joined that label has been popping off.
Yeah, yes.
Yes. They've been fucking good. So, you know what? A reunion, I wouldn't mind.
You're saying the odds are in Ash's favor in this case.
But I mean, I don't know how you fix Danny Warsnop at this point.
I don't know how you fix Danny Warsnop at this point either.
You
You'd
could make
have
him
to-
sound great on the album,
Do
but
you
I'm not sure
remember-
it's going to translate live.
Do you remember those boot camp videos of Asking Alexandria where they made them like do like those workouts and then they would all just like throw up in the parking lot
Was
when
that
they
like
were
the
finished?
first example of Sumerian kind of spreading their wings a little bit?
Yeah.
Before like the
yeah.
whole Sumerian films thing and Sumerian comics or whatever.
That was the earliest we had to like trying to create some sort of viral marketing campaign around a
Yeah.
band that was like irrelevant of the music.
Well, it was essentially, hey, this band's not quite big enough to get on MTV's Silent Library, but is it MTV or is it like VH1?
I don't even know what the fuck Silent Library is.
Silent Library, where like they used to have like the cast of Jersey Shore, or I think like even the 303 guys were on there at one point.
What? Doing what? What's the
They
premise
would go
of this
into
fucking
a
show?
library and they would have to like perform like tasks that were assigned to them for money, but they had to be quiet. Like there was like a soundometer thing, like they
Okay.
couldn't go over.
Okay.
They couldn't make too much
Asking
noise.
Alexandria is going to have no problem with this.
Sure. But like a member of 303 would have to like fucking slap the other one in the face or like throw a pie at them and like,
Okay,
stuff
quietly.
like that.
Got it. So unfortunately, you're saying Asking Alexandria wasn't as big as 303
I'm
at the
saying,
time, therefore
yeah.
could not be on Silent Library. Yeah.
Which is why Sumerian took it in their own hands to like do the viral marketing campaign.
I like that. Do you think Ash has a good relationship with Asking? Or do you think there's any animosity there?
I'm sure there is.
A little bit? Like just like I was your home for so long and then you trade me up for like whatever big noise music or whatever the fuck they're on now. Better noise, whatever it's called.
Put yourself in Ash's shoes.
Sure. I'm forcing Bad Omens back into the studio. Everyone's gonna love me.
Good work. Good work.
Unfortunately, no spotlight this week. Moving on, Marcos. Dated Discourse.
Uh-oh.
A list of bands that need to wrap it up. A TikTok user this week shared a hot take that quickly made the rounds on Twitter, listing off a handful of bands they felt needed to call it quits. Quote,
Sure, I'm all ears.
controversial music take number 4. Bands need to know when to call it quits. I love them all, but hang it up. The Devil Wears Prada. Bless the Fall. Woe is Me. Attack Attack. Like Moths to Flames. The Amity Affliction. Sleeping with Sirens. And finally, Pierce the Veil.
Oh, okay. The ratio of likes, 54, to comments, 111, I think tells a story about where we're about to head.
I didn't realize you could also get ratioed on TikTok. I never considered that happened anywhere but Twitter.
Very ratioed.
You can get extremely ratioed on TikTok, yeah. Many were quick to chime in with their opinions on the matter, saying Pierce the Veil need to call it quits when they are at the peak of their career is crazy. I hate TikTok, says Spell It Out to Me.
It's just commenting on Pierce the Veil being at their peak.
Yeah.
It is crazy thinking back like 2 years to them doing that tour with the Used.
Yeah.
That was like, whatever, a big arena bill. And now seeing them like pull
And that was a co-headliner.
Yeah, right. And now like pulling in fucking 40,000, 50,000 people in easy. And granted, they have support tugging at the nostalgia strings with Sleeping with Sirens, right under them. And they're playing the whole Eras type tour.
I really like the idea that
I cannot believe the amount of like rooms that they're filling up right now.
if their support wasn't Sleeping with Sirens, they would be filling half these rooms. Like they're almost like
Sure.
this weird like dual package where people are like, okay, yeah, Pierce and Kellen's gonna be there for King for a day. Okay, yeah.
It's just crazy to think that like this is doing better than like cross country warps were doing with these two bands, granted a while back.
Do you think
like,
any part of it is from their support slot for Blink-182? Like, do you think they were able to pick up a lot of new fans from that? Because they were playing fucking baseball stadiums.
possible? I mean, I'm sure. Yes, you're gonna find one or two or 24 or 3, whatever like that extends to.
Path to
but
Nirvana was a hit. We had this discussion recently.
I think a lot of people just remember they really fuck with this band, Sam.
And we're just glad to have him back. Yeah. Pierce the Veil really received a great payoff from actually taking some time off.
It's a good point.
People missed them. Fairly Doubtful chimed in. Even Pierce the Veil aside, almost all these bands are arguably putting out the best material they've put out in years. Maybe even just their best material to date. Just a brain dead take all around.
I mean, my biggest opinion here is like to say that the Devil Wears Prada of all bands need to hang it up at the moment is just, it's almost sacrilegious.
This reeks
It's
of, I
blasphemous.
haven't listened to the music, but I saw that these bands are still releasing it.
Right. Bless the Fall just came back after 6 years too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are we talking about?
This is the equivalent of like Googling screamo bands and then just like copy pasting everybody on one of those like collages of logos,
Right.
And being like, anyone who's still dropping new music in 2025 needs to go.
Of Mice and Men somehow dodged being on this list.
They really did. And then the one everybody pointed out that I didn't include is Asking Alexandria.
It's
Completely overlooked on that list. Johnny Tsunami said, "Oh my God, dude, I fucking hate TikTok motherfuckers, man. Saying this about Moths, Bless, and Prada alone is insane and brain dead. Moths just released the best album of their career. Bless is returning to form. And Devil Wears having color decay recently and it being their best work to date. What a bozo."
Only pushback I have here is like,
I got some too.
Bless returning to form is so crazy. Not enough respect is put on that record.
Hard Feelings was so
Hard
good.
Feelings is so
Hard
good.
Feelings was fucking incredible. And also, I wouldn't necessarily say like Moth's last album was their best, in my opinion.
But it was a good one, yeah.
And I think that band is fairly consistent.
Yeah.
I do agree with them on Prada, though. Completely unreadable name says, whoever made this TikTok might be the dumbest motherfucker. Marshke said, excuse you. First of all, no. Secondly, no. Thirdly, no. All of these bands are legendary in their own way, especially like Moths to Flames, Prada, and Bless the Fall. Someone's ears are fucking broken for real.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Manai said, telling Sleeping with Sirens to quit when Kellen did music for Sonic Frontiers and the fandom praising him in the band? Insane. Not the defense I would have went with.
Such
Not
a
the defense
crazy
I
out of
would've went
left
with.
field moment.
Right? Oh my God, tell Sleeping with
forgot he
Sirens
did
to break
that.
up even though they were just on the soundtrack for Sonic Frontiers? Be so fucking
Put
for real
some
right now.
respect on their name.
God damn. Cammy said, saying the Devil Wears Prada need to call it quits are fighting words for me.
Facts.
Right there with you. Backing you up. Boober Goober says, Bless the Fall about to drop Hollow Bodies 2, and they want them to hang it up laughing my ass off.
LMAOOOO.
Griffin said, this alone tells me the person has never seen Like Moss to Flames live. You do not understand the energy they demand of you until you are there front row. They are in their peak right now. Not like 2011, 2015, right fucking now. Marcos,
Fully agree.
Prada.
There's one band that's
Oh shit! What do you
There's
mean?
one band on this
there's
list,
one
though.
band on this list.
and you'll see no one else defending that band, but like
Who you fucking coming after?
question
right now?
marks about Am.and on this list, Sam.
Man, that last song was really good.
It's grown on me a bunch.
Okay, well then shut up then. Then shut the fuck up. Then shut the
I'll
fuck
drop
up.
it. I'll drop it.
I'll
drop
defend
it.
all these bands.
I'll drop it.
That's the point of this whole show, is me just defending bands that people say need to hang it up. No, I won't let them. New music this week. Lorna Shore have released brand new song, Unbreakable. It's the second single from upcoming new album, I Feel the Ever Black Festering Within Me, releasing September 12th via Century Media Records. Marcos, what were your thoughts right off the fucking dome on the song and the video?
This song fucking hit for me, Sam.
It's so good.
This shit fucking smacks.
I don't understand. I saw a lot of negativity when this dropped, and
Really?
it was baffling to me. It was like, yeah, a lot of people being like, man, it's fucking over. Lorna's done. We're never getting the old Lorna back.
God.
And I'm like, oh man, okay. Oh, so fuck, I forgot. I'm dealing with metal fans. Like, it took me a minute. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like Lorna Shore is seeing success, so of course
Right.
we must turn on them. Right? Like, it's written in our DNA. We have no choice.
Sure.
Lorna's finished now that they're having success in their career. The novelty's over. We don't like to see them performing in huge festivals and living the dream. They have to go back to small clubs. It's the only way. The riff on this song is it's wild.
This band's sound is so, and I mean this in such a positive way, overwhelmingly full at all times. Like, there's always so much
Layers on
happening.
layers on layers on layers. Yeah.
And this like really having like a melodic twist to it a bit, with like some of the instrumental stuff going on in the background.
It's a real
It
fist
really ties
pumper,
it together for me.
which Will Ramos does like 46 times in this music video.
How do you feel about this music video?
I like bands having one of these. You know what I mean?
These are fun
Yeah.
in the context, and I
The
understand
irony is
that-
we got two this week, but we'll get to it.
Sure. I understand this isn't really like a conceptual album, or is it? Maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like they haven't spoken on it really.
I remember in the back of my mind early on what they said about it is that like, hey, we're going to do some different things on this record. We're really proud of it, that kind of stuff. But I don't know if they ever got into concept. My guess is that loosely it probably does have one on the basis of the name, which I think is kind of like demanding of at least a loose concept.
Two things there. So I'm slightly annoyed that we don't get another in-universe video, because I liked some of the world building we got on that first track.
On Oblivion? Yeah.
On Oblivion. Like I was interested in those characters, that world. It didn't exactly feel like that story had exactly ended, or that
You should
world
know better
was
at this
over.
point, right? Because there's never any payoff from any band with this shit ever.
And I agree I should have known, but this is also a band that has done like, they did the Pain Remains part 1, 2, 3 thing.
Okay,
where,
that's
like,
a fair point.
it was a continuous story. So I was hoping like maybe that would be the case, but like, this is still a very watchable video. This band is full of watchable members. Like,
Yeah.
we'll never get tired of watching Bobby on those drums. Their guitarist like always has some fucking sick gear on him. Like, and then Will Ramos, just like the hair is just so fucking mesmerizing, and the crowd shots were cool. This is a fun video overall.
Will Ramos has maybe one of, if not the most unique look in all of the scene. Like, excluding, guys who are wearing ornate masks, like Will Ramos has like one of the coolest styles that just doesn't feel like it's aping other people, like it's wholly his own. I think everything about this for me reads Anthem. Like this band wrote this song so they could close out every night with it.
Oh, that's fun. That's a fun idea. I feel the ever black festering within me, Sam.
Yeah.
That's going to be such a tough one to like really nail down. As far as like shortening it, like what it's going to be.
I know it makes a terrible acronym.
IFTEFWM.
Yeah, terrible acronym.
I have to like stop and catch my breath in the middle of it.
If Teflum.
Ugh.
I know, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Vocals Will Ramos on the new song via Knotfest. Unbreakable is a very triumphant, all-inclusive song written to bring people together for a beautiful moment where they can realize that no matter what this world throws at us, it will never break us down. We and our bonds are unbreakable.
Sure.
It's all right there.
I've never really been inspired by a band like
period.
Well, I don't like like this is a song meant to bring people together.
Yeah.
Also, so funny he says that, and it's immediately the song that people hate from this band.
It is ironic,
so
but I mean, it's not everybody. I mean, it's it's just like it's always my mentions specifically for some reason.
I know.
I've just built a fan base of like people who hate everything, but follow a page where I love everything. It's very bizarre.
Okay.
Like we have a real like hateful relationship with one another. The band will embark on a North American headlining tour this September with support from the Black Dahlia Murder, Shadow of Intent, who dropped a new album today, and Peeling Flesh.
I feel like I've seen their name, like I've seen them be active in the year or two it's been since their vocalist passed. Black Dahlia Murder, what do they... Do you understand?
I'm not
like
entirely
what
sure what their situation is currently now.
Right.
That
like,
they're going on, but they have like a new vocalist or something. Yeah, I'm not entirely. I haven't followed the Black Dahlia Murder closely enough recently or since the passing of Trevor to really know what they've been up to. I thought you were going to ask me about Peeling Flesh, which I actually know fuck all about.
I've seen their... Well, first of all, their name is so fucking hard.
Yeah,
it's so hard. I have no interest in listening to them.
It's too hard for you.
I'm good, guys. Like all this reminds me of is like that one scene in Cabin Fever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to think about any of that. I'm good. But
Sure.
I feel like the one day I do check that band out, I will not regret it.
Lorna Shore currently hold 1.2 million monthly listeners on Spotify.
Such a easy to guess climb. Like that's going to be 2 million by the end of this album cycle. Easy.
It fucking better be. Bilmuri has unleashed a new single, More Than Hate.
You love to set my life on fire, feel you burning in my face. Think you're taking all this heat, tired of catching all these strays. Yeah, you keep screaming at me, trying to tell me who to be. Baby, it's obnoxious, can't believe you used to be a part of me.
This marks the project's first new song since the release of full-length album American Motorsports last year and its subsequent deluxe edition. The track is set to feature an uncredited vocal feature from Bad Omen's vocalist Noah Sebastian, who seemingly confirmed this when the official Bad Omen's account shared the song on their Instagram story.
Very cool.
It is interesting. How do you feel about, in general, before we jump into the song, this idea of like uncredited features?
Oh, they pissed me off, Sam.
They pissed me off too.
They pissed me the fuck off.
I know. I just like say it. Just like come out and say it. Like what is the rationality? Is it like some sort of understanding that it's like you want someone on a song, but you don't want them to think that you're using their name to like benefit its popularity in some capacity? Like you don't want them to think that like you're using them, you just like them on the song? I don't get it. You know what I mean?
So I agree. I mean, I'm not sure. I think it's just like a wait for it to get cleared by someone before you can, like, I don't know. Maybe
you think
not.
it's like a legalese
I
type thing?
would think the song can't come out if it's a legal thing. So I don't know. My question to you, Sam, was, did you pick it up? Like, did you pick up on it?
I knew before I even listened to the song. And I knew like people had pointed out, oh, it's like when they scream hate, like, oh, that's Noah Sebastian. And it's like, apparently that's like, it's multiple people, but Noah Sebastian's like one of them.
Part of me just wants to go listen back to this song, and there's just like a concrete that I just didn't it all register for me.
He hits the hate with a little bit of concrete sauce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder if this is going to be one of those things where it's like reciprocal and we see Bilmuri on the new Bad Omens album. That would be a lot of fun. What do you think of the music video and the track itself? Feature aside.
So Bilmuri still fucking got it.
Yeah.
Bilmuri got it, and it's still better than ever. I don't know.
In the 9 months since that album came out, he's still got it. He's retained it.
I was trying to remember when that deluxe came out. I feel like it wasn't soon after.
I think it was like September of last year or some shit.
Yeah, okay. So it has been a while since we've heard from this band. I think that this song continues on all of the great stuff that we were doing on American Motorsports continued on here.
A little heavier.
I like that it's...
I don't remember many heavy moments in American Motorsports.
Well, I like that it's like that. It's sillier, right? Like,
yeah.
They're still...
It reminds me of like the stuff before that. Like, what was it called? It was like a fucking egg salad sandwich or whatever that fucking album was called.
1,000 trillion pound deadlifts.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Like that,
yeah. Will Ramos feature? That kind of fun stuff.
Exactly. There were some heavier bits on Motorsports for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you threw this on that album, I'm not sure it doesn't fit.
Do you think Bill Murray is primed to be a breakthrough artist and almost chooses not to lose his identity in spite of it? Like, this song has significantly more breakthrough potential if he doesn't go ahead and drop a heavy scream in it.
Well, I mean, you can almost say that extends to the video as well, which is just him still in the AirPods with the worst quality. And I understand there's
absolutely
like a bit of
refuses to spend more than $800 on a music video, and I respect him so much for it.
And I get that there's like some lore to this because we're hunting the fucking hog cranker or something.
Yeah, the HOGMAN.
And he's the hog cranking man.
Yeah.
So
like
he's in the wilderness, and it's a lot of like
believable
trail cam, Bigfoot footage of him with his AirPods in as the fucking hog cranking hogmeister or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, you're right. Like, if we were to leave a lot of the unseriousness behind, there's probably a lot more breakout potential, which is why I fucking adore Bill Murray and the fact that we're not doing all that. You want to retain what makes you, and that's what makes him unique, and we're not gonna compromise any of it just to make a quick buck or whatever, right?
In a space that is ripe with creativity in so many aspects, it blows my mind how few bands seem to integrate it into their music videos. But Bill Murray does not have that problem. He puts his entire fucking personality into every single video he makes, and
we call that a hog where I'm from. So.
Yeah, he puts the whole hog into every single fucking music video he makes, and like, budget be damned, he will come up with a completely watchable, clever, fun idea and make a video for every single song he puts out. It's like, it is so fucking commendable.
There was another element to this video, Sam. What was it?
So the music video features comedian Caleb Francis, singers Mitchell Tenpenny and Knox, as well as Bill Murray guitarist Reese Malson, all in acting roles. They're hunters. They are trying to capture the HOGMAN. Do what with him?
I don't know if I'm connected enough with comedy anymore. Like Caleb Francis, I did not recognize. Mitchell Tenpenny, I guess I know what he looks like, but I also didn't recognize
Knox has
him.
got reddish hair. He's like a dead giveaway.
Okay. And then Reese?
I'm not as familiar with Bill Murray's like band outside of Johnny Frank.
Okay.
So no, these were someone needed to point these out to me. You know, like
they need to get introduced on the screen with
I'm familiar with Mitchell Tenpenny, but I don't know that I'm that familiar with him at this point, right? I think had Noah Sebastian been in this video, I probably could have pulled his ass.
He's almost a Mitchell dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Type shit.
The Summer Slammer Tour kicks off this July with support from Driveways and John Harvey. Bill Murray currently stands at over 700,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Damn. The Summer Slammer Tour is such a good, like, I don't know.
Right.
No notes. That's such a good name.
Summer Slaughter, and now we have Summer Slammer.
Part of me was thinking it's also such a 2011 ass, like, 16 band bill.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's a shame that it's not quite literally that.
Literally.
Hollywood Undead have released brand new single, Savior.
From you, I'm a shadow on your wall, never fully seen. A ghost in every corner, haunting every scene. And if I get to heaven, will it set me free?
This marks the band's second new single since signing to Sumerian Records last year, following up last October's Hollywood Forever. According to Blabbermouth, the band are currently recording their 9th studio album. Marcus, what did you think of this music video and track?
I can't get to this fucking studio song, album, whatever track. Sam, this band has 9 studio albums?
No, they have 8.
They have 8.
Yeah.
What? I feel like I know we've heard 1 or 2 of them. They had 7 or 6 before that?
I heard the last one. I think it was called like Hotel California with a K or something.
Sure.
Probably heard the one before that. The ones I haven't heard are probably the ones that are actually their most popular, like fucking Lost in Hollywood Forever or whatever the fuck.
Okay.
Like whatever the earliest one is like I can picture the album art, but I can't remember the name of it.
They must have been, when they first came around, pumping out an album a year.
I mean, they've also been around for a minute. Like this band has probably been around since like 2005, 2006.
Yeah, but I remember I thought they had gone away for a bit and then eventually came back, and there was like some
They just took their mask off, so you
mask
didn't
off,
recognize
mask
them.
on stuff. I don't know. Man,
Yeah.
it's 2025 and like
Indeed it is, Marcos.
I'm still a fan of this band. Well, the weird thing is like
I'm more a fan
I've
of this
never
band
really
now
been a
than I
fan
was
of
in
this
the past,
band.
to be honest.
But like every now and again they release a single that's just fucking right up my alley.
It gets me fucked up because it really is the case where Hollywood Undead is one of these bands where I've never really had a deep appreciation for them, but they're such a familiar name within this space that I always feel inclined to check out whatever they put out. And I always find myself walking away like, you know, maybe not loving a whole album, but
Sure.
finding a song or two where I'm like, yeah, they're on to something.
They've got like a couple anthems in them, and then this one's got like, I mean, I think I take it over Hollywood Forever. I don't remember that one landing as much.
Absolutely. Hollywood Forever had a little bit too much of like a weirdly wholesome energy and a deeply unwatchable music video. And then this one kind of remedies all of those things.
Okay.
Do you remember? It was like
I
them sitting in like an
agree.
old theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It's just like
little-
it had the wrong vibes. This has the proper vibes.
Well, this one's got them like. This band's got far too many members. First of all,
I cannot.
they have
I no
3 of
longer
these
understand
guys
their dynamic.
who have no idea what they're doing.
Right.
They're just throwing up like this in front of a mirror occasionally.
They're throwing up whatever the Hollywood Undead version of a gang sign is. Yeah.
If you're not doing anything in the video besides taking your shirt off, I'm not sure like
What your value
what
is
your
in this,
role
in
is
this.
in the band.
Yeah. And like, don't get me wrong. You and I do every once in a while like videos where 3 out of 4 members like hard pose
Yeah.
because I think there's like a novelty to it. But with
But you
Hollywood
have to
Undead,
be with
they're
the rest of the
developing.
band.
They're developing a little bit of a boy band energy that I don't fully understand
It's-
from this project.
It's actually probably always been there, but it with like members having potentially reduced roles,
Yeah.
and how they exist now, like more maskless than ever before.
I don't think I've ever seen any of these members like playing an instrument.
They're
Like,
so-
and maybe like I'm like fundamentally misremembering, but in the last 2 music videos at the very least, like this one and the last one, nobody ever plays an instrument, and like 2 of these guys don't even sing. They're just kind of like there for the vibes.
Right, and like occasionally they'll like flash them wearing the masks. Like this ends with that.
Here's me, 4th member of Hollywood Undead. I never speak up. I never raise my voice. I just do what I'm asked, and I collect my check. You know what I mean?
It would just
I
be
wanna
weird if this
seen,
mask-
but not be noticed. You know what I
Right.
mean?
It would just be weird if the mask wasn't there at the end, so I still have to show up.
This band has arguably one of like the strongest like clean vocalist out of like the new metal space I've ever heard.
Whoever the blonde dude is,
Yeah, I
goes
can't remember
kind
his
of
fucking
crazy.
name. I want to call him. I'm gonna say he's
He
Charlie.
looks
Scene.
like a real fucking Chaz or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll call him Charlie Scene because I know that's one of them, but I don't know which one it is.
Stop. Is that actually one of
Yeah. It's like Johnny 3 Tears and it's like Charlie Scene and it's like everything about this band is such a vestige of the past, but it's like they're still here and they're still
Sure.
fucking cranking out tunes and this one's like pretty good.
And like, don't get me wrong, that vocalist isn't like that impressive, but the energy and the performance and the theater of it all wins me over with that person so much.
He really runs circles around every other member in that band. Like he carries himself a little differently than everybody
It
else.
definitely does.
And he has like a weird like emo energy to him where it's
to
almost
the-
like he got thrown in the wrong project.
Well, it's to the point too where I see him and I'm like, I'm just surprised this person's not featuring on more like this guy should be on a couple of other
To be fair,
Sumerian
we
projects.
don't even know his name, so he very well could have
He
been
could
featured
be.
in 4 to 6 songs we've
But I
covered in
don't
the
see him on
past
any
and
videos.
yeah, sure, that's fair.
And if I'm bringing him in for that and I see how he performs in his videos, then I want him in my video too.
Well, if you want to see him perform, Marcus, you can catch him supporting Falling in Reverse on the God is a Weapon tour this August. Alexa Slaughter Prevail, Wage War, Tech 9, and more.
Okay.
Hollywood Undead currently set at over 4 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Good
Sounds
Charlotte have
about
dropped
right.
new single Rejects.
'Cause they liked us better when we weren't together. You said whatever, I was never clever. Sometimes I still wish I wasn't born at all.
New album Motel du Cap, the band's first full length in 7 years, releases August 8th via Atlantic Records. A little flavor here before we get into it, Marcos. Rejects was produced by Jordan Fish, ex Bring Me the Horizon, as well as written alongside himself and Zach Cervini.
Fascinating. Sam, I remember hearing Rejects for the first time without the knowledge that it was by Jordan Fish.
Okay.
And I was like, this shit is ass. And then I learned it was by Jordan Fish. And I was like, they never miss.
Man, you're cold on this one?
No, I'm just joking.
Okay, all right.
I'm just joking. I'm not cold on this one. I think this track it's just really undeniably catchy.
It was insane to me that we listened to all the songs that we were going to cover today, and this is the one I couldn't get out of my head.
Right.
I was like, all right, good Charlotte, you fucking got me. You fucking got me with this one. I'm back. We're back.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited at the prospect of this new record. Obviously, Jordan Fish is a massive sell for you and I, who have been, you would say that at this point, we've been favorable to every project he's ever worked on.
Well, that was the joke.
I'm with you.
Imagine a world where you didn't like Jordan Fish and Zach Cervini. You would never be able to escape them. They're connected to every project.
We'd hate every song we talked about on the show. We'd honestly, we'd turn on every one of these
And there is someone
bands.
out there like that.
Oh my God, trust me. They're also in my mentions.
Yeah, I know. I also think there's something to this band having not really been around for 7 years. I mean, they have, but they haven't.
Yeah, they let you miss them a little bit.
Yeah, I see this suddenly.
Turns
and
out
I'm
this
like,
works.
Motel du Cap. Like, yeah, okay. I'm suddenly circling August 8th on the calendar. I'm interested.
They had like a fun story around this, and I'm like paraphrasing here, but it's like they played like a friend's wedding, and it was at a place called like Hotel du Cap. And they like, for whatever reason, they're like, hey, there was so much magic. We love playing music so much. And like, we finished that and we were like, you know what? Let's fucking do it. Let's go make another album. Let's do it like how we want to do it. Let's do it just because we love the music and all this other stuff. And I'm like, all right, all the vibes are lining up here, right?
Why couldn't you have done this with like Greeley Estates?
Why
And, like,
couldn't I have
get
gotten
me an
Greeley
album?
Estates to
You
play
need to
my wedding?
resurrect one of my
Yeah.
favorite bands by having them perform at a wedding.
Well, it's not too late. Once you get married, you'll be able to
I gotta get Ryan Zimmerman on the phone.
do your little Make-A-Wish.
Sure.
Might still have his number. I'll look. I also like the music video having this like the claymation thing. I think that's super fucking cool.
This is a really vibrant, colorful video.
Yeah.
Claymation stuff adds a ton of like just appeal to it for me, for sure.
My favorite aspect is that they have the like original version of this band from like 15 years ago. All like claymation
I love
up,
you,
down to like
Sam.
the spiky hair and everything.
25 years ago, bud.
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean. You know what I mean. The majority of this record is produced by Jordan Fish. Benji Madden shared the following via Rolling Stone, quote, "When Jordan joined Bring Me the Horizon, I immediately was like, whatever they did there, that's really special. Now that Jordan left the band and he's producing full time, I knew I wanted to make music with him."
Put that fucking word bubble over so many other people's picture. But Poppy, probably Bad Omens, Architects.
Halsey.
Exactly.
Also per Rolling Stone, the band say they are planning a world tour for 2026.
I could see myself potentially wanting to go see some good Charlotte live.
They talked about like some Era's ass thing as being like a potential approach to this, which obviously like I really hate that, like,
The very first era and the very newest era is what I will take. Thank
we
you very
just
much.
label like everything eras toward now, and it's just like a band playing material from all their albums, which is a thing that's happened since the dawn of time. We just didn't have like a quirky little name to assign to it.
Right.
Good Charlotte currently claim over 5 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Set It Off have released new single Rotten.
When you start for attention, you serve what they crave. Chocolate and charm keep the questions at bay. But your sugar is sweet till it rots on her teeth. So save the charade.
The band's new self-titled album will be released independently on November 7th and follows up 2022's Elsewhere. The album includes a recent single, Wolf in Sheep's Clothing Reborn, which is a reimagining of their song Wolf in Sheep's Clothing from the 2014 album Duality. It's also worth noting, at one point in the song Rotten, Cody says Wolf in Sheep's Clothing.
Stop.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, that's it.
That's my reaction.
That's
to
your-
all.
that's your feeling for
My
this whole
live
thing?
reaction
Yeah.
to anything Set It Off in 2025 is
Last time we talked
Sure.
about this band, it was really negative.
It
You and I
was
were not a
pretty
fan of
bad.
Elsewhere. You and I were not a fan of Duality. We were not a fan of. There was another
Outside
album
of
called
Wolf-
like
Wolf in
Upside
Sheep's Clothing.
Down. We were not a fan of.
yeah.
Like, man, it's been a minute since you and I really have shown any particular interest in this project.
So do you see Rotten and then Wolf in Sheep's Clothing Reborn moving the needle for you?
I like see through this band, if that makes sense. Like, I know exactly what they're doing. Like, you and I have had this discussion. All the money right now in this scene is in Octane, right? So, like, I think it's hard for certain bands to break through a ceiling if they're not in the sort of rock metal realm in some capacity.
Yeah.
And I think that Set It Off looked at the landscape and they went, yeah, we could do this. Like, we can make these. Like, this isn't that hot. Like, a breakdown? Done.
Octane Core is not very heavy, Sam. So I think a band a band like this one certainly can pivot and add a breakdown 3, 4, 5 across an entire album and definitely break through into that part of the scene, right?
My overall feeling is that I've liked this a lot more than anything they were doing prior. Significantly more than Elsewhere. So, like, I don't hate this as a direction. Maybe a full-on, like, genre swap actually is what this band needed.
Video's a little rough.
I mean, yeah, he's
song's
dressed like
not.
fucking Dune Messiah. It makes no sense. There's no plot. This is the second video I've seen from this band over the course of 6 years where he just randomly, like, spits blood onto a mirror.
Okay.
It's deeply unappealing every time.
It's a signature move. He's a loud one.
Yeah, I'm not into it. Yeah.
Sam,
What's the matter?
I don't know.
What's your issue?
I just wanted to talk about how, like, Octane Core,
Yeah.
I feel like it's so funny
Mm-hmm.
having these conversations now when in 2015 Octane Core was such a different sound. It's so funny that, like, I get that, like, you know, metalcore in 2014 was Architects versus, like, what it is in 2025 is, like, Bad Omens. Now, like, it fluctuates definitely, but, like, Octane Core was such a different sound versus what that sound is considered now.
Sure. Where are you going with this?
It was just commentary on what we call Octane Core nowadays, because it's not the Octane Core we knew in 2015 that everyone dragged.
Yeah, like, everybody hated it now, but to be fair, I think those haters still exist now too. Like, I think there are a lot of diehards
Yeah,
who
but
just think,
it's a hatred of, like, what Octane Core is today. I just wanted to, like, I feel like no one's acknowledged that Octane Core is not what it was considered at one point in time, which was, like, definitely the laughing stock of this podcast. Like, we used to dunk on things for being Octane Core all the time, but that definition changed.
I
Like,
think that,
I want to pull up, like, a fucking Big Guns or whatever from 2014 and compare it to what it looks like in 2025. And, like, in 2025, it's technically stacked, But you go back to like 2014 and it's just absolute like ass.
Are you ready for the top 30 Octane songs from Biggins 2014?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to give you the top 10. Drop Dead Cynical by Amaranth.
This is what I mean. Why is Amaranth up there?
Something Different by Godsmack.
Exactly. It's all Godsmack. That's what Octane Core used to mean.
Torn to Pieces by Pop Evil. Are you ready for this next one?
Interesting.
You would never guess it in a million years. Room to Breathe by Yumi at 6.
What?
Doesn't even make sense. Breaking Skin by Nonpoint. Words as Weapons by Seether. My Demons by Starset. Wrong Side of Heaven by Five Finger Death Punch. The Devil and I by Slipknot. And number 1, This Is the Time Ballast by Nothing More. There's a couple familiar names in this top 30. Bring Me the Horizon rounds it out at 30 with Drown. Reincarnate by Motionless in White is in here. Would You Still Be There by Of Mice and Men. There's a little bit of it, but you're right. Nowadays,
You got a
Biggins Countdown 2025,
baby.
Countdown. All right, let's see. I got one.
This shit about to go stupid.
Let's see right
All your favorite
here.
bands are about to be in here.
Yeah. Biggins. This one was the end of March. Shinedown, Papa Roach, Disturbed, 3 Days Grace, Nothing More.
Never mind.
Wage War, 10 Years, Killswitch Engage, Pop Evil, Sleep Theory. I don't think it's changed
All right, moving
that
on.
much. I don't think it's changed that
Moving
much.
on.
The band will headline Dead Pop Festival's Dead City in Japan this July alongside Sim, Red Hook, and Mighty Hope. Set It Off currently hold 2.8 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Final new song this week. Hail the Sun have released brand new single, The Drooling Class.
There's no way that you want it the same. There's no way that you want it the same. What you get is what you give, and what you give is not enough.
New album expected this fall. It'll be the follow-up to 2023 full-length album, Divine Inner Tension. Vocalist Donovan Malero on the new track. Quote, "This song is the representation of our unwavering and undeterred drive, all from a place of love. I'm not coming from a place of unjustified confidence or arrogance. I just know there is no way that you want it the same, and that's how it will always be."
Okay. All right. No one was questioning you, Donovan.
Thoughts on
Okay.
this song and music video?
I think they pick up right where they left off.
So this is the band that did a video that was similar to Lorna Shore, for the record.
Okay. Yep. Divine Intertention was a great album. Picking up right where we left off. I mean, this is a band that's rarely fucking missed across their career. One of the best ongoing post-hardcore bands to date. Back with another great song. That's how I view this.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The video really stood out to me on this one. They do this neat thing where it's like they pack a venue with a bunch of people in it, but they intercut it with shots of them performing to absolutely nobody. So you'll have this thing where it's like the light flashes, nobody's there, light flashes back, suddenly the rooms fill again. It's
This
a really
is-
cute little video trick.
Well, it's also a trend I've seen,
Or editing trick or whatever you-
a ton of bands doing in like TikTok, where it's like performing the popular part of a song in an empty venue. The something drops and then it's the biggest part of the song performed in the front of the biggest audience of like all time. But like this is the full scale version of that, which is definitely an interesting watch.
Yeah, this is long form TikToks.
It's this long form TikTok. Yeah.
But I'm right there with you. I do think that like Hail the Sun has been incredibly consistent. I think the Drooling Glass falls right in line, and I'm excited about a new album from them. I was hot on Divine Intertention. I think I cooled a little bit on it by the time we got to picking our top 10s for the end of the year, but overall, I've always been incredibly pleased with everything Hail the Sun has done. We were watching this, and I turned to you, and I'm like, is this the last great post-hardcore band? Does it feel like everybody else
good
abandoned the
question.
genre?
It's
Everyone
really-
else is like pop or metalcore or somewhere in between.
Correct. Yeah. It's a good question.
Hail the Sun, all alone on an island.
Because I can't think of any others, I am going to give it to you. I think they are probably the best remaining post-hardcore bands.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, though, about like being, hot and then maybe cooling off a little bit on Divine Intertention. This has got to be one of those bands where they have such an underrated, like, take like the top 2 or 3 tracks from every album from this band.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like non-stop hits.
I just remember that like Mental Knife, I think the name of the track was, came out like right when we caught this band on Warped Tour, and it was like ever since then I was just in love with them.
Yeah.
The band will embark on a co-headlining tour with Between the Buried and Me, starting this September with support from Delta Sleep and The World is a Beautiful Place and I Am No Longer Afraid to Die. Hail the song currently command nearly 400,000 monthly listeners on Spotify.
Damn.
Reviews this week.
The Breakdown.
We're going to start with The Only Way Out Is Through by Awaken I Am.
I'm never satisfied. Taking a basket wide. Maybe I'll never find out. Not running out of time. And everyone has to die. Maybe I'll find my place in the afterlife.
This is the Brisbane Queensland Act's 3rd studio album. Blew my fucking mind to learn that this band was from Australia, Sam.
Yeah.
Did not know that. This record released the 27th of June on SBG Records. It was self-produced by the band's vocalist Jimmy Alexander.
Shut the fuck up.
Fun fact.
Shut the
also
fuck up.
produced Rain City Drive's debut album To Better Days.
Also, fun fact, SBG used to be the home to Rain City Drive
Yes.
when they were under a different name.
This band also toured with that band when they were under that different name.
Yeah.
So a lot of connections there. The Only Way Out Is Through is the follow-up to 2019's The Beauty and Tragedy EP. Sam, you might remember that EP served as a tribute to guitarist Connor Werner Oakley, whose life was cut short at 22 years old by the hands of an intentional, reckless driver in May of 2018. Just, still a very sad story. Heart goes out to this band. And it's, it's been a while since we've really seen a full project from them. Again, it's been 6 years. So I wanted to...
And it's nice to see them carry out Connor's legacy as well.
Yeah, totally. At the time of this recording, the band demanded a massive 632 monthly Spotify
Wow, that's actually
listeners.
insanely strong.
I mean, speaking of Octane, Sam, this is one of those bands that,
Quietly?
well, they've quietly become the mold of what an Octane band is considered in 2025.
Right.
And this is sort of what I was talking about earlier. Like, we pulled up the big uns of 2013 or 14, and it was some Godsmack, some Seether, some bands that were familiar, like Motionless in White. But it's also packed nowadays with bands like Catch Your Breath, Sleep Theory,
Yeah, Octane.
Awaken I Am. who have-
Octane has a lot of different, hey, they have Test Drive and they have their regular top 10 and then your big ones.
Yeah.
Across the board, you're right. A lot of these artists that you and I do cover tend to break through into that space specifically,
Yeah, so this band had Roses that did really well.
which is not on this album for the record.
Yeah, well, so it kind of took off a couple of years after release because that was, I believe, pre the Beauty and Tragedy EP, around 2018 or something.
Always fun when that happens to a song. You assume TikTok, but you can't be for sure.
Yeah,
Or you could
well, I was going through this band's socials, and at one point they shouted out Tim the Tapman for streaming the song on Twitch or whatever.
Okay,
and
all right.
Then it's this song's been picked up on Octane and stuff like that. So
I would love to someday be the Tim the Tapman to some band.
sure.
Yeah.
And then Relic actually has done very well over the past year or two that it's been out. And here we are, full album from this band, a band that had been in my peripheral for a bit, but I thought that in my mind, this band had just stopped releasing music, and I guess they had for a little bit, but they've really ramped it up these past couple of years. They released a ton of singles in the lead up to this record. And I got confused actually last week. We shouted them out, cause I thought they had just released an EP.
Right.
Turns out
One of those
they
cases
just had
where
a lot of
Spotify
singles.
fucks you by
Exactly.
naming something when nobody agreed on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And turns out they had the album and it dropped this Friday. And
Okay.
here we are, Sam. Feelings on Awaken I Am and their new record.
I thought it was good. I think the spectacle of this band is their vocalist, who is just sort of jaw-dropping for the entirety of this whole album. incredibly reminiscent of Andrew McMahon of Rain City Drive.
McAndrew.
Matt McAndrews of Raid City Drive. Very similar, you know? So
Yes.
finding out that the vocalist of this band, did I understand that correctly? Yeah, Jimmy Alexander produced Raid City Drive's album To Better Days. It's almost like the synergy is almost too on the nose. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
self-produced this one.
I was like caught off guard, but shouldn't be surprised at all because they're almost like as projects they're almost identical.
Totally.
Like their approach is almost identical.
Yeah, extremely vocal driven.
Right, huge melodies.
Heavy but not heavy.
Right.
Like this
right,
has
right,
breakdowns, but they're not exactly, you know, earth-shattering by any means.
Post-softcore, like that kind of deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like been the case with this band for as long as I can remember. Like they kind of sound today like what they sounded like 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah, in a sense, it's like...
Which is why, again, I keep highlighting the whole, like, weird thing where it's like, this band didn't change their sound to sound like Octane Core. Octane Core's definition changed so that,
to mold itself around these artists. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I think that while listening to this album, I really had a feeling that, like, man, I was like, 7 to 8 years ago, this is my album of the year. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like when this was like fresh and it was all that I wanted, this is such a fucking perfect version of this style of music, right? Like it's right up there with bands like Rain City Drive, you know? I think that my favorite parts of this record are the 2 songs that are backed up by interludes. So you get 52 into House of Cards, and then you get The Looking Glass into Vacant. And I think that like that is the most personality this record has at any point, is using those interludes and then the way that they sort of like elegantly flow into those 2
Sure.
tracks.
Otherwise, it's sort of kind of the same song 7, 8 times in a row.
Right. Like I don't want to say that there's like no variation, but they have a particular sound and they stay pretty consistent with it throughout the course of this record. I think The Looking Glass, that interlude is probably the most abstract this band gets on the whole album. Like it's very peculiar. It's definitely the odd child out of all of these tracks in particular.
So the pushback I had for you here was that song definitely worked for me, the interlude.
No, I really enjoyed. I don't want to misconstrue. I said that's my favorite aspect of the record.
No. Let me get where I'm headed.
Okay.
So I agree. Like I think The Looking Glass adds a little bit more like layers to this band,
It's a
character
little more
and
like,
stuff like that. I was a little underwhelmed by Vacant as the closing track and as the song that The Looking Glass was building into.
Okay.
And I immediately thought to myself, like, oh, something like Afterlife as a closing track, as a track immediately after an interlude like The Looking Glass, it would have hit even harder than it does on this album.
Okay.
Like with its current placement, which
You're
is
saying
like
it would have been
halfway
a little more,
in.
just a little bit of a more powerful ending.
I think so, yeah. And I remember specifically thinking to myself, listening to this album, okay, this is getting me hyped. Really excited to see what comes next. Like your interlude right before a closing track gets like, I don't know, the neurons in my brain
There's like a
start
mysticism
fucking
to
going
it?
crazy. Yeah, like there's a mysticism to it, and then that song kind of comes and goes for me.
Gotcha.
And immediately I'm thinking like, okay, I take Afterlife, I pluck it, put it at the bottom, and it works so much better overall.
I think that because I look at them as sort of like pairs, like 52 and House of Cards go together and The Looking Glass and Vacant go together. I think that I credit Vacant as being stronger than maybe you do because I feel like it is tied sort of holistically to The Looking Glass and they're like a 1-2 punch. So for me, the closing track is 10 and 11, not just 11, if that makes sense.
It does. I'm just I can't back it.
Okay.
I can't back it.
Fair enough. I think that you could make sort of one of those arguments with this album that it's kind of like everything is dripping with single potential. Like it's just prepped to be added to every fucking alt rock playlist under the sun.
The funniest part here, Sam, is they damn near all were. Like this is definitely an example of 6, 7 singles.
I think this one's sort of like it sort of came in under the radar for me.
It totally did. We didn't know it was coming out.
Yeah, like you brought it up like last week, but I think that like up until that point, I want to say I'd heard like Tightrope as a single and maybe not anything else.
I had seen Afterlife and then immediately like checked their page at some point and saw that there was an EP, and I'm like, oh, okay, so Afterlife was the single and here's the EP and that's it. Obviously not the case. But a little interesting that like this band can be on the bigger side like they are, and this one can kind of come out of nowhere. Like the album's release.
Which I think just speaks to like the breadth of popular bands of this scene at this point.
That's
where
fair.
it's like
It's also impossible to
so
keep
many
track.
of them, it's become difficult. Yeah. So like overall, it's just like, man, it's just earworm on earworm on earworm, like stacked on top of each other, just like waiting to be devoured. This is an easy recommend, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like one of the most unique albums I've listened to this year. This is like a solid B+ for me. Really enjoyable experience, but not necessarily anything otherworldly.
I'll tell you what, Sam, I'll meet you at that B+. There's a couple of things that like, again, like at the end of the day, this album is like filled with what I would essentially call are a lot of the same tracks.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little like let down, not to specifically call it out, but I saw like the Nerve feature and I was like, okay, this is exciting. Like this is the one feature on this record, and that kind of didn't land for me. It was just like there, and it didn't do a whole lot for me. So like there's a couple of aspects like that ultimately keep it from being.
And the
like,
uncredited Noah Sebastian feature?
Which song? Because there were a couple.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think B+ is fair for this one.
Okay.
This band is really fucking talented at writing those types of songs.
Yeah, no argument there. Marcus, we also checked out This Movie Sucks by Durry.
You seem really miserable, but I'm glad you got that off your chest. The internet is free, and I'm no professional, but I think you could use a therapist. I'm gonna take a guess, you don't have any friends. That's why you got a truck in your profile pic. It's all making sense, it's all connected. Somebody could pay this debt. Everybody's fighting over the internet again.
It's the Minneapolis Act's second studio album. It released independently the 27th of June as well. It was produced by Philip Odom and Zach Zern. Philip Odom is an LA-based producer that the band actually flew out to produce in Minnesota with Zach Zern at their studio. I forget what it was named. And in addition,
are the vibes so good in
the
Minnesota?
vibes are so good in Minnesota, apparently.
That you don't want to go to LA alternatively?
And then I believe all of it was, in addition to those two, Philip and Zach, also co-produced by the band's vocalist, Austin Durry. Okay. This Movie Sucks is the follow-up to 2023 Suburban Legend LP.
Never been an album that I need to hear more in my life, by the way.
After hearing this one, correct.
Given that one like missed me entirely, yeah.
At the time of this recording, the band demanded an impressive 212K monthly Spotify listener, Sam. Us too, we're in there. A little bit of information about Durry here. At the start of COVID, Austin and his wife Ashley moved back into his parents' house with his sister Taryn. With nothing but time, he got back into songwriting, regularly asking his sister Taryn for input. Durry formed really naturally in the early pandemic days. This is a quote. And then we had a song pop off in 2021, and all of a sudden we were a legit band and trying to do it, he explains.
Fun making music and then like doing it as like just like a side hobby, and then like one of your songs take off and it's like, fuck it, we got a band now.
So this is actually just all from their their Spotify profile.
Got it.
And I cut out the middle paragraph, which is essentially exactly what you just said, which is they were just reminiscing about how every once in a while they accidentally write a song that goes viral, and they were like, oh shit, we don't have anything to like promote alongside this, or no album, whatever.
I hate people who are like successful coincidentally,
unintentionally,
whereas like intentionally I can't successfully do anything.
Another quote: everyone who has listened to the album, this one, what movie is this? What the fuck is this called? This movie sucks. I got myself confused.
What movie is that?
Everyone who has listened to this album seems to have a different favorite song, and I think that's really unique, says Taryn. We do touch on a lot of different genres and styles, but somehow we've been able to still make it cohesive, and I think that's a big win." End quote. Sam, Durry, the fucking darling of this podcast, after discovering them earlier in the year.
Yeah, why is that, though? Do you remember why?
Band?
Yeah, this was a spotlight band by one of our patrons, so shout out to them.
Yeah.
They put us onto a project that you and I like really fell in love with. Not the first time this year that that's happened. Like, our patrons have been absolutely on their game.
Totally.
Which makes me regret not including a spotlight this week. It's just been a difficult week, as you could tell by the intro to this show. How do I feel about Durry, Marcos? I absolutely adore them. I've been anticipating this album all year long. This is one of those cases where I just like the first song, the one that was recommended to us was This Movie Sucks, the title track. And I've been hooked ever since. And I think that the thing in particular that I liked about this band so much is that they were just so incredibly likable across the board. And like similar to the discussion we were having about Bilmuri, just their personality and what they were able to do on what feels like a like reasonable budget. But because they're so clever and have such fun ideas, they make like really compelling music videos. This carried forward too with I Don't Know, I Just Work Here, which I absolutely love. Just like being a band who's like, okay, we're like funny, we're creative, and we're talented, and all of that really comes across in both their video productions and in the music itself.
It's to touch on just something that you did there. This band oozes creativity in damn near every single note. Certainly in their music videos, which are like low budget. Like, don't get me wrong, but in such a authentic, genuine, and again creative way. Like they just nail it. Everything they nail. And then that obviously extends to the actual songs. The songwriting is so much fun. The band is not afraid to like really just let a song sort of just snowball, and like the band's way of still like it's so hard to explain that like all of these songs are so different from one another. But like Taryn said, like it's still such a cohesive record. You almost have to like hear it to believe it.
Yeah, because like the glue was the two individuals that sort of like crafted all of these individual songs, where even though like in terms of genre, we can sort of bounce all over the place. You know, we go from like pop punk to alt rock to like country Midwestern, but all of it like being from Durry and having their personality injected to each of the individual tracks ends up being like the anchor that sort of keeps this from like floating in every other which way direction, so that yes, it does remain cohesive and like you're never at a loss for what band you're listening to at any given moment, even though like they will dramatically shift styles from track to track.
Yep. It's also like massively entertaining. Like they're telling a story about starting a band, and then you have I Don't Know, I Just Work Here, talking about you don't want to like lose your drive-in life and become like a boss or whatever.
It's incredibly honest. It's like deeply irreverent. It's incredibly clever across the board, both in terms of like, well, specifically in terms of the writing and lyrically. And sometimes it's like clever in really simple ways. Like something that really stood out to me was Porcupine, which is just one of these like showcases for how much this band is just bursting at the seams with quirkiness. And it's maybe best defined by its quote, "see you later alligator" style of like lyricism, which is like very, very goofy, but also very charming at the same time. And I think in general, this album has like some of the most inspired writing I found in any record this year, down to the cute little nods to like the Killers in what I thought was a standout track, Polaroid.
Polaroid's a lot of fun for sure.
And when they're hitting you with that line, "smile like you mean it," and like it's got like just a tinge, just like a modicum of like the melody from the Killer song when they deliver it, really helps sell it across the board.
Porcupine is such a big fucking standout too here as well from a slug bug as well. I love how this record ends. I don't know. I was reading something about actually no, Taryn says it, but their producer like shouted out this album on Instagram the day when it released today as well.
Okay.
And it was like one of those things where it's like every time I listen to it, new favorite song, stuff like that. And I think that's absolutely going to be the case when people start picking this one up at home.
It just feels wholesome. It's like just listening to this album. It's like I just like I finished like a shit week, and then like we finally got to Friday, and it was like one of those cases where it was like, okay, the album I exactly needed at this very point, at this very moment, was this brand new record from Durry, and boy did it fucking deliver.
Sam, I think this is an A+.
I'm not.
The vibes are immaculate.
Ooh, I didn't know you were gonna go so high.
Vibes are immaculate, bro. I think it's I don't know. I just work here has like a lot of like sing along, like just stuff like that. Just makes for such a great experience, like such a great listening experience.
Super easy to sing along to. Absolutely no
Totally.
argument there.
I don't know. This is a record that like puts a really big smile on my face, and one that I feel inclined to press play the moment it ends on. A+ feels, I don't know, it feels what it's due.
I mean, listen, like to wrap it up, I think there is an incredibly endearing sense of individuals trying to keep their chin up despite like the regular world bearing down on them. Like a sentiment I can really like attach myself to.
I could definitely see how this band was born from COVID.
Yes, exactly. But like there's just this sense of like the everything beating them down,
Yes.
but like them retaining like a modicum of like aw shucks optimism that I found, like I said, wholesome and nourishing for my own self.
Okay.
Like you take a song like Wannabe, and there's a line in there like the grass is already green enough under my feet, and it's just like one of those lines that like I can really see myself like personally turning to and sort of like cementing as my own mantra to kind of like help me carry forward. Like the way that band sort of like bleeds into like my own like sense of self, I think is just really like I'm really grateful for that in some capacity. And like I said, the way it bounces back and forth between like genres, but sort of like crafts a unique identity all to its own is really impressive. And you mentioned how prime this is for like just endless sing-alongs, just big hooks, fat melodies, incredibly relatable sentiments that are easily digestible and ready to be like regurgitated at the top of my lungs. See those singles. This movie sucks. More dumb.
More dumb too. Oh
Fucking
my
I don't know. I
God.
just work here. All of them with the fun fucking videos
More
attached
Dumb's-
alongside of them.
Mordom's its chorus is something like, if ignorance is bliss, I wish I was more dumb or something like that. Yeah.
This band is very sharp. They're very witty. You can see why they have success where like just being themselves and maybe not necessarily trying has still paid dividends for them. I feel like you undercut me a little bit because I am incredibly enthusiastic about this album, but I think I would cut it like slightly lower. Like I think I would go with like a hard A, where I think it's really
this is
impressive.
why I had to get my rating out first.
Fair. And I think that I just listen to this band and I think that maybe that best album is still around the corner.
I think
and I
that's-
don't know that I quite give it to him just yet. You know what I mean?
That's more than fair. I also don't know if I personally want to reserve an A+ for that album that doesn't exist yet. And I just want to recognize when a band really fucking delivered on everything I personally wanted from a record. This is an example of that. This is an instance of that. And for me, it's just a real undeniable one.
Okay.
This
As
movie
always,
sucks.
everybody.
By Durry.
Right. Thanks for listening. If you're hearing us on Spotify or Apple, please leave 5 stars. If you're watching us on YouTube, please drop a comment. Leave a thumbs up. Thanks. We love you. Bye.
Good boy.
Run!